Hello, and welcome to Beyond Books, where we talk about books and beyond. I'm your host. I'm Renee, co-host Raina. Snack of the day is chicken and waffle bites. Happy Tag Tuesday. I do have a tag for you today. This is called the Revised eReader Book Tag. And I was tagged by Kevin at Kevin Toll Reads. In fact, I was tagged just today. I was looking for a tag to do, so thank you, Kevin. Now, this is apparently a 2-year-old tag, which was created by Mika Cummins. So I'll put a link to her channel and Kevin's as well. So the first prompt is, what was the first e-reader you ever owned? And what was your reason for getting one? Were you a reluctant convert or an eager one? So the first e-reader that I ever owned was a Sony e-reader. It worked very similar to an iPod in that you would download your book to your computer first, then plug in your e-reader into your computer, then go into your book library and actually move the book over to the e-reader itself. Just like you would move any other computer file. So that little reader held about maybe 10 books. It depends on the length of the books. It wasn't anything like today's Kindles in terms of capacity. But I did love that little e-reader a lot, and I used it a lot. I believe that I got it in maybe 2009 or 2010. And at the time, you couldn't even check ebooks out of the library. So everything I had on there was either purchased or, maybe something that I had gotten for free. But I got it because I was interested in the technology and the fact that I could store so many books at once. I was eager to use it, and I thought it was amazing. The first book I read on it was Under the Dome by Stephen King. I remember that. I mean, imagine the difference at the time between hauling this book around with you and just using an e-reader that was smaller than the average paperback. So the next prompt is, what e-reader do you use now? And what e-readers do you own? Well, I have an Amazon Kindle. This is it here. It's got a Starry Night cover on it. It's not in color at all. It's black and white. I've had it for probably at least 5 years, I think it is. And I have hundreds of books on it. I can also listen to Audible books on it, which is nice. That way, if I run out of battery on my phone or tablet, I have this as a backup, or if I use this as a primary, I don't have to worry about my tablet and phone running out of battery, so I can use it for other things. So number 3 is, do you read digitally on multiple devices or always on the same device? And if you use multiple, how do you decide which one to use? Well, I already talked a little bit about, depending what you have with you and that kind of thing. But basically, yeah, I absolutely use multiple devices. Of course, now, we have the Kindle app. We didn't back in the day at all, of course. But, you can also download the Audible app. So I read and listen on both my tablet and phone in addition to my Kindle. I would say I decide which one to use probably mostly by where I physically am at the time. If I forget to bring a book, say, to like a doctor's office or something like that, I'll usually have my phone with me. So, that's great. I can read on my phone. So, it's probably mostly dictated by convenience, I would say. So number 4 is, do you still read physical books? And if so, how do you decide which format to read a certain book in? Well, I actually, if you've been watching my channel for any length of time, I mostly read physical books. However, there was a time in my life when the opposite would have been true. when I was working, traveling for work, that kind of thing. I actually mostly listen to books on Audible. So I would say lifestyle has, a clear effect there. Format for me is mostly dictated by availability. Sometimes the Kindle version is very cheap or even free, perhaps. So, I may end up getting that if it's a book that I really want to read. I still have some books on my Kindle that I haven't read. So, I wouldn't purchase them again. If I want to read them, I just do it on my Kindle or through the app. So number 5 is what is something you dislike about reading ebooks? Well, I don't particularly like being dependent on battery life. Sometimes, you just forget to charge your device or you can't charge it for whatever reason, and that can be a bit of a bummer. So, if you're reading a book with any kind of graphics in it, also say such as a map or something like that, they don't always translate very well into the digital version. So, that can be a downer too sometimes. Also, it's screen time, so probably not great for your eyes. But overall, I do like e-reading. I think that the advantages definitely outweigh the disadvantages. The best feature is not having to worry about getting enough light. You can just flip on your Kindle and the light source is right there for you. So you don't have to flip on lights while other people are trying to sleep and things like that. Prompt number 6 is, would you ever ditch physical books completely and become a sole ebook reader? If yes, why? Or if not, why not? Well, I'm going to say absolutely not. Even though I really do like ebooks and I think it's a great concept, a great idea, but it's definitely not my intention to ever ditch physical books. I love the feel of them, the smell, just the overall vibe of books. I love hunting for used books. I almost always discover something new or something that I really like. And it just kind of feels like a luxury for me to take the time to shop for books. So, I just like doing that. I can't imagine just doing it on a computer, maybe someday if I had to, but for now, I'm going to say no. I just enjoy physical books way too much. So number 7 is, where do you get your ebooks? The Kindle store, library loans, third-party websites, and I'm going to say mostly the Kindle store. Occasionally, I have gotten some through a third-party website. Number 8 is tag some fellow booktubers, and I will do that. Kevin, I want to say thank you for tagging me. Great tag. And also, speaking of Kevin, he recently asked the question on his channel, are book reviews dead? And now many people actually on booktube have done responses and have talked about that. So in order to answer the question, I looked back on all the stats that I have in my analytics. It's almost 2 years worth now. And I do see that some book reviews sometimes do seem to lag behind other videos in terms of number of views. But, that's in and of itself is not a hard and fast rule, because I do have some book reviews that have received over 2,000 views. One, for example, would be The Women by Kristen Hanna. And some have gotten under 200 views. And an example of that fairly recently would be Hatchet by Gary Paulson. Now, my average for any video on my channel, no matter what the subject matter, is around 200 or 300 views. That's pretty much what I can count on when I put out a video. So I think the determining factor when it comes to reviews, and as far as how many views they're going to get, is actually the book itself. Now, the reason I say that is that it seems like if a book is popular, or better yet, just on the cusp of being popular, or if it's a popular author that everyone's heard of, then generally speaking, the video will be better attended. If it's a book and an author that's maybe been around a while and still no one has ever heard of or read, or maybe even wants to read, those are the ones that aren't probably going to get the same number of views. So in my examples, for instance, the women was brand new when I released my video and did my review. It was a brand new release. So it's still getting views even now, and it has a nice curve in the analytics. It's flattened out, of course, because it's been about 1.5 years since I did it, but, always with that upward rise. Now, Hatchet is a YA book that probably not a lot of people in my age group have read or may even be aware of or heard of. Now, I loved both books. Don't get me wrong, but, my viewers, I would say, generally speaking, would probably rather hear me talk about the women than Hatchet. And that's perfectly understandable. So now, please don't think that I'm blaming poor viewership on the book or the author, because I'm aware it's up to me, to make a video interesting. But first, people do have to click on it, right? So I'm not a big fan myself of clickbaity types of titles and things like that for my videos. My brand, if you want to call it that, is more kind of like the what you see is what you get kind of thing. So I can understand how a clickbait, type of title could help potentially to increase views, but I don't really care, in my own life to click on a video and find out that, it's not exactly what I thought. So I try to be aware of that clickbait kind of stuff. And there's a line for me there, definitely a line as a creator, that I try to stay aware of. Now, if it's a banned book and I put that in the title, I think it helps with views because people want to know why it's banned. If I put spoiler free in the title, that also helps, I think, because people know that they aren't going to have their experience of the book spoiled by my review. So I do see, those things having a bit of influence, but probably not really a lot in the long run, at least for me. So my answer is definitely no. Book reviews are not dead. In addition to counting views and looking at clickbait stuff and things like that, I do like to do book reviews. I really do. So I also know that there are many people who appreciate them, probably as much or more than any other of my content. So I'm going to keep doing them. This is a book channel after all, not a shopping channel or a political channel or a how-to channel or something like that. So book reviews are definitely a core part of my channel. And I would say that they aren't at all dead, at least from my perspective. So, all right, that is today's Tag Tuesday. I want to say thank you to you for watching. One more snack for the road. Excuse me. Take care and have a great day.